So for anyone who does want to join, next week we'll have a catch-up session for the LAR. It's not compulsory. It's just for those of you that are wanting to know exactly what to complete, when to complete it, how to complete it. We'll do that. We'll record it. So it will be available online. If you miss it, if you're not available next week to make it, then you can just catch up on that for how to fill in the LAR. Let's get started for today. Firstly, sit up nice and tall, shake it out, put a nice big smile on your face. Let me know in the chat box, how are you feeling? Give me a number out of 10. How are you feeling today? Where are those energy levels at? Lovely to see your faces this morning. Carmen coming in hot with a 10 out of 10, excited for the training to be finished. Okay, beautiful. Let's see. Alsha coming in at a 7, Divya at a 9, Natalie at 11. Super excited for the training to be finished. Wanda at a 8.5, Amy at a 5. Amy and Alsha, our power girls in the front. What happened today? iPhone 2 is Sally 5. It's my energy. That's okay. Inshallah, by the end of the session, hopefully it will be up a number or 2. Every hour we get better and better. It's early, 10 out of 10. Good morning, Carrie. Beautiful. So what do we have for today? For today, we're going to figure out how do we go from the consultation, from the very beginning to goal setting to the class, right? So what do we do with a client from the beginning up until the point we're on the mat with them? Busy weekend, birthday celebrations, and visitors. Whose birthday, Amy? Is it your birthday? I hope you're not a 5 on your birthday. Oh, son's 18th. That's why. Lots of planning. It's a biggie. That's okay. I'm sure it will be lots of fun. Okay, so we're going to be covering how do we conduct professional and inclusive consultation using the PARQ and screening tools confidently. And then we're going to look at how to set SMART goals, goals that are specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-bound. And then how do we actually complete the training? So what are all the steps? I know there's been tons of questions. So we're going to go through step by step exactly what you have to do in order to complete the training. Okay, beautiful. So happy birthday to your son. Yes, eat lots of cake on the birthday day. Beautiful. So consultation to goal setting. How do we actually start the process of the consultation, the PARQ, all the forms that we need to fill in, right? This is going to be very different depending on where you're going to be working. Are you going to be working in a studio? They might already be doing a lot of this. Or are you going to be doing freelancing? Are you going to be running your own classes? So this may be quite relevant for some of you if you're doing your own classes, if you're doing private sessions, one-on-ones. This is going to be absolutely necessary. For those of you that might be working in a studio, they may be covering this part, but it's really good for you to know in case one day in the future you want to go out and launch your own company, you want to go out and run private sessions, you want to have your own Pilates studio. This is going to be really, really helpful. Right? In every successful program, we've learned up until this point, how do we actually create a program? What are the steps of creating a class, creating a progressive program, knowing which exercises to do? But before we do any of that, we need to first understand how do we create the plan according to the person that's in front of me. Now, the consultation and initial screening process is what sets the foundation for everything to follow. You would only really be able to create a successful Pilates program once you understand what are my clients' goals. What is it that they're actually trying to achieve through Pilates? And now we have the information, the foundations for creating that plan. So how do we do that? We do that through thoughtful questioning, observation, listening, and we use these tools to understand what is the client's goals, what is their history, what is their current physical condition, so what is their current health, their current capabilities. And this is where we begin to actually transform that data of the foundations into a direction. Where do we move from here? And how do we do that in a way that we build connection and trust? Remember, ideally, we're taking our clients through a whole process, a process of a beginner to a more advanced, or where they're at to an even better, stronger, healthier version of themselves. Okay, so this is looking at what is my client's goals? What are they hoping to achieve throughout the training, right? So we're looking at what is their holistic goals, and then how do we transform this into a training program? And why do you think this is important? Let me know in the chat box, why do you think the consultation is important? Why is it important to do some goal setting with our clients? Why is them signing an indemnity important? If you want to unmute yourself, you can unmute yourself. But why is this session that we're covering today, why is it important for a Pilates instructor? Why do we not just go out and train people? Why is it an important part of the, yes, Juana?
It will give us an insight on the client's issues, if he has any injuries, or if the goal is to lose weight, or maybe to gain weight or muscle, or so basically it gives us more knowledge and history, like medical history as well.
Beautiful. Nice. And let's give Juana a round of applause, right? She started the training and she was like, no, not me, no, don't make me speak. Now she's like, speed of life. I have feedback. Let me unmute myself, right? Look at your confidence, Juana. Mashallah. Good job. Okay. So exactly like Juana said, right? It gives us history. It gives us information. What is their goals? What is their current fitness level at? Right. Amy says it's needed for the progression, right? We have to understand where are they starting to understand how can we progress them. And exactly like Perry says, we have a visible and structured pathway. Don't make me cry today. All right. Natalie says you need to know where the starting point is and know where you want to go before you can create a strategy. So Sally says you can easily transform them when you understand the background. Divya says to know what they want from the training, to know where they stand currently when it comes to fitness. Beautiful, right? So exactly like all of you lovely ladies have said, gives us a starting point. It helps us understand where to start. What do we need to work on? What is their current fitness level? What is their history? Ausha?
I just think, especially for your private clients, it's really important for them to sign some sort of waiver, some sort of form where you talk about payments, because you will find them, they'll go, yes, yes, I'll pay you next week, inshallah. I've had a few clients that did 2 or 3 sessions. They were like, oh, my wallet is in my car. My husband has my car. And being nice, I actually never got paid. So there's like quite a long time I got no money because people weren't paying me. So to make sure you write it in writing, payments, what the expectation is around that as well, not just the nice stuff we want to do with them.
Beautiful, right? Lovely. Well done. And not only that, right? Like think about it from a safety perspective. If you're training someone, you want to have them sign an indemnity form to not hold you responsible. In case of any emergency, in case anything goes wrong, you really want to, okay, right? Exactly what Natalie is saying. It's important the client needs to realize there's risks as well as the work involved. Like Elsha said, we want to set those boundaries. So, and ideally, you should be taking money before the training starts, right? So ideally, you should be in that consultation them, letting them know these are the payment terms and conditions. These are this is, you're going to pay me before this day on every single month for the session in advance, right? So, in this section on the course platform, I am going to upload a consultation form that I generally use. I'm going to upload an indemnity form that I generally use. And I'm going to upload another one from another company. So you can have a look at it. You can see what should be on the form. You can see what I've been using. You can see what other institutes use. And then you can look at it together and create your own. but I would really put in some terms and conditions and the indemnity to hold yourself safe. What I also do, a touch on what Ausha said about the payment. Every single month when I send them an invoice, I let them know payments has to be made in the beginning. If you're canceling any sessions, give me at least 12 hours notice, else that session will be forfeited. So a lot of my terms and conditions I put on the invoice. So every single month, it's in their face, they can see it. If sessions will be missed, let me know, else you lose that session. This is your payment up front for the month. Please note, if you're not going to be here, let me know. Right? So we want to try and make those boundaries as clear as possible. Why do we have this thing called boundaries? What are boundaries? Boundaries are certain rules and regulations, things, standards of how I will be working, standards of any effective working relationship, whether it's a personal, romantic, or professional. I should have certain boundaries, rules, regulations, terms, and conditions in place, because then it's clear for everyone. Everyone knows where they're standing. Everyone knows what's expected. And if I don't have a boundary in place, it's very easy for anyone to go past that boundary because they're not clear on the terms and the conditions. So we really just want to make sure that those boundaries, those terms, the conditions, the agreements are all set in place before we start practicing. Okay, so collecting client information. This would be the very, very, very first step, right? Before we start anything, in order to plan a Pilates mat work program, in order to design a safe and effective plan, I need to first understand who is my client. Remember that Pilates is very client-centered. It's very individualized. It's very specific to an individual. So the more you know about a specific person, their body, their goals, their lifestyle, the better you can design a personalized session that's functional, safe, and meaningful. Obviously, there may be some of you that may be doing a group Pilates class, which you wouldn't really be having this section in there. But in order to finish your training, you have to have knowledge of this. So this process includes gathering information, gaining informed consent, interpreting the results, and knowing when to refer a client to a medical or allied professional. Right? So within our Pilates scope, we should know when do we refer a client. If someone is pregnant and they've got a difficult pregnancy, if someone has an injury and they haven't been approved by their doctor, if someone has a repeated injury after doing a certain movement and they're not healing, right? So there's certain times where we should be referring a client. So how do we obtain, or why do we obtain consent? Right? We obtain consent because it helps us to build trust. It helps provide the clarity on the program's purpose. It ensures safety because it helps us to explain any risks. It upholds legal protection and professional codes. And it respects clients' autonomy, right? It's their body, it's their choice. They're allowed to do whatever they want, but you will not be held accountable. So every client should complete a consent form that outlines confidentiality, data use, and their right to withdraw at any time, but with specific terms and conditions put in place to protect you. So informed consent, what are we looking at? We're looking at what is the session? What does it involve? What is the assessment involved? What are the risks and the benefits? And make sure that they have signed that indemnity form. Right. It involves their right to withdraw at any time, but based on certain terms and conditions. You're allowed to cancel, but please give me 2 weeks notice. Right. You're allowed to cancel whenever you want, as long as your payment has been made up in advance for the last month, whatever your terms and conditions are. Also how their information will be used and stored. All right. So I will be keeping this. I will not be spamming you. I will not be, giving your information to other people. So we need to make sure that we're letting them know exactly what are they going to be doing, what is expected of them. So Why do you think this is important? What possible risks do you think that there could be in Pilates? Which potential hazards may there be in a gym or studio environment? So, what are possible risks? What are potential hazards? What are things that we should be aware of when we have someone in our class? And think of the different kinds of populations we may have joining us. Again, anyone want to unmute? Please feel free. So, what are the possible risks? What are the potential hazards? What are the things? So, Awana, you've unmuted yourself.
Yes, it can be the risk of unknown pregnancy.
Okay, unknown pregnancy. Okay, there's a slight risk in unknown pregnancy, right? But generally, the first few weeks, at least it's generally quite safe, right? So if it's unknown pregnancy, I mean, yeah, it's a risk, but chances are if the person doesn't know, there's not too much of a risk because it's just a little embryo growing at the moment, right? Or like it's not really too many things in Pilates that could damage it. It's not like exertion, you're going to be sweating out of breath. That would be a little bit more damaging. But yeah, if it's unknown, but nothing we can really do about that because it's unknown to us, right? Harry says physical damage from the equipment around. Okay, right. So actual physical damage, bumping into something, falling, especially if there's a pregnancy, right? Natalie says misuse of any equipment, physical hazards, obstacles in the gym, wet floor, slippery surface, right? Probably a lot more dangers for reformer training, right? I don't know if you guys have seen that compilation of people falling off the reformer. So injuries from movement not carried out correctly, right? Especially on the reformer, lots of opportunities to fall, lots of chances to injure themselves. But even on the mat, right, doing a roll back, not properly, if they've got a weaker spine, if they've got a little bit of arthritis, strains and strains of falling, absolutely, right? Especially maybe more standing things. If it's on the mat, right? It's not such a far way to fall, but as soon as we start standing, we're incorporating lunges, we're standing, lifting one leg, balance work, absolutely, right? So there's a lot of possible risks, potential hazards. Likely Pilates is quite low impact. It's not as bad as, say, CrossFit or a HIIT class, right? But there may still be some potential injuries. Students attempting movement too early or introducing progressions too soon, absolutely. Also, students with already existing injuries, like Akmaral, right? She had already quite weak shoulders, injured shoulders, and then doing a lot of Pilates can aggravate certain injuries. Clients with osteoporosis, higher risk. Clients with pregnancies, higher risks, right? So we just want to be careful of things like the AC not working. We want to make sure that there's water available. We want to make sure that there's no wet, slippery surfaces. That's why it's important to come a little bit before your class or your session starts. Make sure that the environment is fully set up. There's no hazards around, eliminating any risks, and generally treating your client like a baby in the studio, right? So making sure that they're, yeah, dehydration. So dehydration is something we need to watch out for, especially pregnancy, especially in hot, humid classes. So just things we want to be conscious of, right? So I'm looking for all the potential dangers. I'm looking, how can I avoid this? There is a section on this in the ebook. We're not going to go too much in depth in it today, but I am going to ask you all to make sure that you read through the full ebook for this section, right? It's just safety, regulation, rules, and things. So make sure that you've read through it. We're not going to spend too much time on it, right? But make sure that you have read through it. Make sure that you're making the safe space. Make sure that you're avoiding any dangerous exercises, any risks of falling. If you know someone doesn't have good balance, always give them a regression, right? Make it safe and convenient for everyone. If you've got anyone pregnant, make sure that you're avoiding all the dangerous things. We've spoken about these before in the trainings, right? So just make sure that you're putting in regressions where necessary and you're making the space as safe as possible. If there was a little child there, how would you childproof it? Do the same for adults. Okay, so what information do we collect for our PAR-Q or for our informed consents? What are the informations that we need to collect in order to create a progressive Pilates plan? So the key areas we'd include would be firstly, what are their goals? What do they want to achieve? Do they want to have better posture? Do they want to be stronger? Do they want pain management? This helps to set realistic goals. It helps to set measurable goals and to help us select which exercises would be appropriate for their goals. We want to also have a look at their lifestyle. What are their daily habits? What are their current physical activities? What is their posture at work? Do they do a lot of work online or at a desk, or do they do a lot of physical work? Do they have a lot of one-sided repetitive work? Right? How is their stress? How is their sleep? This helps us to start identifying barriers to physical activity. So what are the things that may affect their training program, which helps us to guide realistic program planning? If I know you've got a really stressful job, you're going to be working very hectic hours, perhaps I'm not going to give you 5 Pilates sessions a week, right? Maybe you might only manage 2 or 3. Right? Maybe they're already going to the gym 3 days for strength training. So maybe they can only fit in 1 or 2 other days. So I need to look at what is their current lifestyle, what is their current physical activity levels, what are their daily habits, right? A program for someone who's 25-year-old, who's working very part-time job, is going to be very different to a 40-year-old with 2 children at home, a full-time job, and a third child coming in the form of a husband, right? It's going to be very, very different person to person. So we need to make sure that the plan is matching. And we always want to try and set our clients up for success, right? We never want to set our clients up for failure. I don't want to give it too much and then all of a sudden it's overwhelmed and nothing is right and the person feels like everything is too much. I would rather give too little, make it a massive accomplishment, and now we can progress and make it harder, than give too much and make it an overwhelm, right? So I want to try and set my clients up for success, set them up for accomplishments rather than setting them up for unrealistic failure. Right, so let's try and remember that when we're designing our plan and program. And generally, people like to over set themselves up. So they're like, yes, I'm going to manage 5 sessions and then I'm going to do my 3 gym sessions and I'm going to do 6 days running. You're like, okay, that sounds fantastic. Let's have that as the goal. But let's work with what would be the minimum that you'd be happy with. The minimum, okay, let's work there. It would be great if you can do all the other stuff, but let's work with the minimum that you'd be happy with. Okay. Also, I want to be looking at their medical history. What are their injuries, any surgeries, any health conditions? Do they have back pain, arthritis, any recent surgeries, any osteoporosis? Do they have high blood pressure? Do they have high cholesterol? This is essential for identifying what are the contraindications. And now I can plan safe modifications. And that's why in a group class, we have to ask this in the beginning, because on the spot, you're going to be modifying things. On the spot, you're going to know, avoid this, be careful of this. Then I'm looking at their physical activity history. What movement or exercise experience do they already have? This is determining their baseline ability and familiarity with Pilates. Have they already been going to Pilates? What is their baseline? Can they do the majority of the exercises safely, or they know they avoid this one because it's uncomfortable? And then finally, what are their likes and dislikes? Understanding what a client likes builds their motivation, and again, sets them up for success. If a client loves getting sweaty and they love a strong workout, I'm not going to give them a class that's full of regressions with sores and spine stretches, and they're not feeling like they're being challenged. However, if a client doesn't like being challenged, they like slower things, they like controlled, their movement, their talking is slower, their lifestyle is slower, we know which kind of class they're going to want, right? A more slower class. So now I understand what are my clients' preferences, so I can build the program designed to their preferences. I'm going to look at what is their motivation and what are their barriers. What is their mindset like? What are general barriers or limitations that they're having? Very busy at work. I have a full-time job. Maybe they have a lot of traveling, right? Maybe they work on the airlines and they travel a lot. So I need to look at what is their barriers to exercise and what motivates them. What do they love doing? What do they enjoy doing? What do they feel good doing? Right? And then I also want to look at what is their current fitness, their posture, and their functional ability. So I want to look at what is their posture like? Do they have rounded shoulders? Do they have some kyphosis? Do they have lordosis? Do they have scoliosis? Right? And what is their strength like? What is their movement patterns like? And from there, now I know what kind of exercise choices, what is my teaching approach going to be? Should I be adding regression? Should I be adding progressions? So I'm looking at a couple of different areas. Okay, then I have a few tools I could use for gathering information. So how do I get all this information that's so necessary? How do I actually get it? The first thing is I could have a written questionnaire, a PAR-Q, right? This is called a physical assessment readiness questionnaire. A PAR-Q is a written questionnaire that I take my client through. In the initial consultation, I would generally put the PAR-Q and the indemnity in the same place, right? This is the beginning. I'm getting your consent to exercise. I'm doing a personal indemnity to hold myself not responsible, the gym not responsible. And then I'm doing a written questionnaire to figure out what are your goals. So this is the initial consultation. This is where I'm getting all the information that's necessary. I could do a verbal interview, a one-on-one discussion. I could do this before the class starts, right? Or I could do this when I meet the client and they're interested in the training, right? This helps to build rapport, right? A lot of people prefer a verbal interview, although you still need to get the written consent, right? Because verbal interview, verbal consent, you're not going to be able to prove that if you need to, right? So get the written one and also get the verbal one. A verbal one would generally be before every single training. Any new injuries, any new pregnancies, anything new I should know, right? And then it's just my general observation. I'm observing what are they doing during the warm-up. I'm observing how are they walking into the session. I'm observing how are they sitting. I'm observing their general posture, right? This helps me to identify where are the imbalances. What are their general movement patterns? How are they lifting their shoulder? How are they sitting? Are they doing it with correct form and posture? There could also be some physical assessments, right? I could maybe do some fitness or flexibility assessing. I could assess what is the shoulder mobility like? What is the hip mobility like? What is the hamstring flexibility like? Maybe their goal is they want to be able to do the splits, so they want to increase their flexibility. So then maybe I would test where is their current flexibility for the splits. Okay, they're getting this level. What do they need to do next? Right, this is objective or measurable. Objective, their perspective, right? So physical assessment, maybe they wanted to tone up. Maybe I would track their weight and their body weight. That would be measurable. It's things that I can actually physically measure. I can keep a track of this. I can write out On the 1st of January, they were 68 kgs. On the 3rd of March, they were 65 kgs, right? It's measurable things I can track. Or it's objective. Maybe they just wanted to come in and build their confidence. So I could ask them, okay, well, out of 10, 0 being the lowest, 10 being the highest, how confident would you say you currently are? It's objective. It's their perspective. I can't measure their confidence, right? But I can get their opinion. How confident do they feel in their body? How fit do they feel, right? Or I could do a fitness test. I could get them to run on a treadmill and assess how fast can they run, right? This wasn't really relatable to Pilates, right? Maybe I would test their fitness by getting them to do the 100 and see how many reps they can do before they get tired. Or they do the swimming. How many reps can you do before you get tired? And then I would reassess this every couple of weeks, every month, every 2 months. No worries, Amy. Right, so there's different ways I can assess them. I can assess their fitness, I can assess their flexibility, I can assess their confidence, their energy, their health, right? There's different things I could track according to their specific goals. Maybe if their goal was, I want to improve my back pain. Okay, well, how bad is your back pain on a level of 1 to 10? 1 being not so bad, 10 being massively bad. Okay, let's assess this again in 3 months and see how much this has helped. Right, there could be some digital tools or online tools, right? So you could use this for virtual clients. The majority of, well, not the majority, all of you signed a registration form, right? So if you did not notice on your registration form before we started, your entire consultation was there, right? We have used digital tools. I'll be signing you guys all up on a digital platform that will give Pilates sessions, right? You can create complete Pilates sessions on a digital tool, right? So this is generally for virtual clients. You could use things like Zoom to do virtual sessions. You could do assessing their posture on a virtual platform. You could keep their forms on Zoho forms. You could do their invoicing using digital tools. So depending on you, how you want to run your practice. For those of you who are interested in running your own practice, you will all gain free access. We will be running a business workshop for all of our clients, doing all of our trainings. So for those of you on the live coaching or have done a live coaching before, this is also available to you. It's a brand new thing we're launching. It's going to be a 5-week training. It's free for everyone. And it's going to be from passion to profits. So how to turn your whatever you're studying, whether it's life coaching, whether it's personal training, whether it's Pilates, yeah, Tari, how to turn it from the beginning, from your passion into a profitable business. So we're going to look at business success strategies. That's why we haven't brought business into the Pilates at all, because we wanted to maximize the time to learn as much relevant information. And the business we're going to learn for 5 weeks in a row. It is going to be recorded. If you're going to be missing it, you can catch up the recordings. Right, so that will help a lot for those of you that are wanting to launch your own business, run your own freelancing company. It's going to give you everything you need, digital, virtual, or in person. So yay. Beautiful. So once now we have the PAR-Q and the initial consultation, right? This is all the information that we need to get started. These are the essential tools that we can now use to create our program. They help to identify what are the potential health risks, what are the postural concerns, what are those lifestyle factors that may influence how a client moves. This stage is also about building rapport, right? Clients should feel seen, heard, and supported, not assessed or judged. Here you should be getting to know the client, right? What's your main goals for Pilates? What is your dreams? What is your vision? Where would you like to be in 3 months from now? You can find out more about when would they like to train? Which days would you like to train? What are the times that you'd like to train? And once you've gathered all this information, now you can lead your clients into setting meaningful goals that align with their lifestyle, body, and mindset. Right? So how do we set goals with a client? How do we set goals is we help our clients to identify what are the things that are most important to them, right? It helps to create a program that's client-centered, relevant, and motivating, aligned with the client's needs. So we want to firstly understand, what does our client want to achieve, right? Having a clear vision is absolutely crucial for ultimate success. We need to know, what is our client's target? What are they aiming for? Because if we don't know what are they aiming for, what is the goal, there can be no success. If you don't know your client's goals, there's no chance for success. So, what kind of goals do you think people coming for Pilates would generally have? What are the most common goals do you think people would be coming in for? Toning, weight loss, beautiful. Injury recovery, weight loss, flexibility, stress management, core strength, stress, right? Absolutely. So those are some of probably the biggest ones you'll be having, right? So we need to understand, what is their goals? And we need to be thinking holistically. Take pictures, right? Meeting up with the bestie to get some matcha and pictures, improve lifestyle and habits, right? So absolutely, we need to think physiological, psychological, mental, emotional, physical, general health and fitness, social, right? For those Instagram pictures. They could just be going to Pilates to meet up with their friends. I've got clients who have gone to Pilates, they didn't even know what it was. Their friend invited them and they wanted to go, right? So it could be social. It could be functional ability. Maybe they want to get more functional. Maybe they want more recovery, stretching, relaxation, releasing the stress. So the Pilates goal should really connect the body, the mind, and the life, not just the muscles, right? So I want you to write down, which of these goals feels most motivating to you personally and why. So which of these goals that we've discussed, what is most aligned to you and why? And if you want to unmute yourself, you can unmute yourself and let us know.
Hey, hi.
Hi, Nelly.
So, I think I told you when I first joined, I had my son's wedding I started Reformer in March. I had my son's wedding in June, and in March, I had cortisone injections in my knees. I had hyaluronic acid injection in my knees the year before. Nothing was working, and I was desperate to wear heels for my son's wedding. So I literally started doing Reformer Pilates so that I would be able to function daily without any pain. So, and it did. By June, I was wearing 2-inch heels for his wedding, and I had no pain the next day. And that's when I then got in my head about teaching seniors that if I could fix an injury, then it would help seniors just to actually just go about their day comfortably and not with aches and pains, like my husband, who isn't a senior yet, but he's heading that way if he doesn't start Pilates. So yeah, so that's functionality is for me the top thing.
Nice. Beautiful. Right. So there's a new goal. No one said the goal could be to wear heels.
Yeah. Yeah.
Go heels without pain.
Heels
Nice,
without
Natalie.
pain.
Thank you for sharing. Beautiful. Anyone else would like to share? which is the one most related to them and why. Otherwise, you can just write it in your own journal. You can share it with us on the chat if you like. Okay, beautiful. So we should all have a little bit of an understanding of which other goals are most motivating to us and why. Divya says a mix of all, majorly general health and fitness. Beautiful. And you didn't tell us why, Divya. Why is the most important part? Why those people? Remember, every client's Pilates journey begins with a conversation. Through the consultation, different questionnaires, and open dialogue, you can uncover what matters truly to them. So your approach should be, I listen actively. I listen to understand their goals, their challenges, their motivations. I'm listening, what kind of words are they using? What kind of language are they using? What are they speaking about that challenges them, that motivates them? How are they saying what they want to achieve? I can ask clarifying questions. I can turn vague goals, like I want to get fit, into specifics, right? I want to improve my posture and reduce back pain. I want to get fit so that I'm able to walk, or able to wear heels without any pain. I want to tone up because it's my birthday coming up, right? So ask clarifying questions and get as specific as possible. And then encourage reflection, right? Help clients connect their goals to deeper values, lifestyle, and well-being. So Divya says, a mix of all, generally health and fitness. Why? Because it lets you live your life better, makes you feel better in so many ways, right? So that why is very important. That why is the driving factor. And when we understand the why, then we understand the motivation. What's going to keep them motivated? And then we review regularly, right? Goals evolve as the clients progress, right? Exactly like Natalie said, her goal was to wear heels to her son's wedding. And she did that beautifully. But now what comes next? We revisit, we readjust. Okay, beautiful. You've got that. Celebrate it. You celebrate it, celebrate the win. But now, beautiful. What can be our next goal? What is the next thing that you'd love to achieve? And setting goals really helps to keep the motivation and the excitement up. Okay, so when we're looking at goals, they should be divided into 3 different stages, right? There should be some short-term goals. What do you want to achieve short-term? Literally in the first month to 2. And the goal should be kind of based on that, right? They should be mastering the basic principles. They should be improving their postural awareness, learning how to activate those deep core muscles, right? So perhaps we'd be starting with more regressions. Their medium term, 6 weeks to 3 months, they should be building their spinal mobility, starting to build endurance. So the repetitions increase. They should be increasing that control. They should be establishing consistent practice habits, right? So now we're looking at how do we get these foundations and make them more permanent, turn them more into a lifestyle, right? Now we're incorporating more of the mindset stuff, the habits, maybe long-term goals. Now, this is where we're actually going to get the results, right? You're not going to get much results the first month. After 3 months, now we would be getting a lot of the results of the practice. So here we should be achieving functional improvements. We should be achieving lifestyle transformation or full postural rebalancing, right? Now we'll really be getting the outcomes that we've been looking for. So some short-term goals, learning the basics, understanding how to move, understanding how to activate the deep core muscles. Medium, how do we make this a more lifestyle practice? How do we build consistent practices? And long term, what are the actual outcomes we're wanting to achieve? The physical, the mental outcomes. So every client's, we already said that one, sorry. So we want to make sure that we're looking at SMART goals. So SMART is a very simple system that we can use to create meaningful, trackable goals. So a SMART goal should be specific, define the exact outcome. What is the exact thing that they want? So for example, they want to improve their core strength to reduce their lower back discomfort. Beautiful. Right now I know what I'm aiming for. How much discomfort do you currently have in your back out of 10? Beautiful. In 3 months, let's hope that number is a lot lower. It should be measurable. So there should be something to measure in order to make the progress visible. What would that look like in order to achieve? What would that look like once you've achieved this? So I'd be able to perform a controlled roll-up within 6 sessions, right? I would be able to know that I don't have any back pain anymore. So how can I measure their goal? It should be achievable. It should be to be able to fit within the ability and time frame. So for example, I want to attend 2 Pilates sessions every week for 8 weeks. Is that achievable? Is that realistic? Right? Is this aligning with my lifestyle and my health habits? Does my lifestyle allow me to attend 2 Pilates sessions for 8 weeks? And if not, I can modify this. I can modify the exercise. I can modify the time frame. I can modify the goal, right? And finally, it should be time bound. So there should be a time frame or a review date. So this goal we're going to work on for 3 months. This goal I'm going to work on for 2 months. And ideally, we should achieve this realistically within the 2-month period. And after that, we redo the process. So I'm looking for SMART goals. They should be specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and they should have a time frame in order for the goal to be the most successful goal. And in order for us to be able to help our clients achieve this goal. So why do we do this? Right? Goal setting helps us to give direction, motivation, and a sense of achievement. And the more a person feels the sense of achievement, the more likely they're going to stick to the practice. Pilates goals helps to connect the function, how you move, not just appearance. So it really helps us to go deeper into the actual experiences and the outcomes and the benefits of Pilates rather than just physical appearance. And every goal should reflect that the principles of Pilates, right? That mind-body connection, that precision, that alignment, that acceptance, that centering. And when goals have meaning, motivation becomes momentum. And that's what we really, really, really want, right? We want meaningful goals. We want momentum. We want motivations that people are showing up and they're excited to practice. They're driven to practice, right? They know that there's a structure, there's a strategy that they're working through from beginner to advanced. So some reflective questions for you. And this you're just journaling in your own journal. Or you can chat, you can put them up on the chat, but I do want you to get this in your journal so that you can start thinking to the outcomes and the solutions for these. Why do you think clients may struggle to stay consistent in Pilates? What do you think are some of the struggles that people may have to stay consistent in Pilates? Proximity. Okay, beautiful. So proximity. So the next question then would be, how can you support your clients' barriers to consistent practice? So if it's proximity, how could you avoid that being an obstacle? Could you offer virtual sessions? Could you offer freelance sessions where you travel to the clients? Could you offer multiple sessions in different locations? Change in situation, job, marriage, or other life events. Okay, so a change in situation. If someone got a new job and they were highly stressed, how could you create a barrier to that? Okay, I know you're stressed, and that's why I've planned this beautiful relaxation Pilates for you, right? You're getting married. So I've created a toning Pilates for you. You're having a baby. So I've designed a pre and postnatal Pilates training for you. Injury outside of Pilates, right? So depending which injury, but how could I create a barrier to that obstacle? How could I create support to that barrier? So you got an injury. Okay, beautiful. Let's do a rehabilitation session. Not enjoying the session. Okay. So what would be the support solution to not enjoying the session? Let's challenge you guys. No worries, Em. What would be the barrier to not enjoying the session? What could be a solution? Beautiful, right? So we could get feedback. What don't you enjoy? Good music. Good music, right? That could very much be it. Self-reflection, find out what their passions are, right? And that's why goal setting is so important, right? So goal setting, we do the goal setting because if they're not enjoying the session, it means it's not aligned to their goals. They're not feeling passionate about it because they're not seeing the link up to their goal. So if I know this is their goal, I can link the session to the goal. Put some banging music on for Perry, right? Make sure that music is good and we're good to go. If they're lacking focus, generally, if they're lacking focus, it could be that they're tired or they're drained. So how can I help them to not feel tired or drained, right? Could I do a recovery Pilates session? Mindset and motivation, right? Are they having a negative mindset? Can I help in Pilates with that? Absolutely. Motivation, go back to the goal. On instructor's part, self-reflection on the instructor's part. Beautiful, right? So Natalie says self-reflection on the instructor's part. Absolutely. Reassess the goals or teaching approach. Beautiful. Find out what they enjoy, adapt sessions accordingly. Beautiful, right? So exactly what we've been covering in this session. That's why it's so important, because it will help us to figure out how can we create a support system solution to the barriers that are going to make them fall off practice. Okay, now I want you to take a couple of minutes before we go on break. We're going to do just 4 minutes. And I want you to write out what are some of your short-term goals for your own Pilates practice and for your Pilates business. So for you to start delivering Pilates session. So I want you to think of your short, medium, and long-term goals when it comes to Pilates. And this can include finishing everything that needs to be done. Natalie says, that's why you ask, how are we feeling today? And getting energy. And at the beginning, then ask at the end, how it felt. Absolutely, right? See where their energy is at the beginning, because then you know how much energy do you need to put in to get their energy back up, right? And getting energy at the beginning and then at the end. Okay, quick question before we go over the goal setting. Quick question. Only people who are not allowed to answer. Sorry, Alsha and Wana, I'm kicking you guys out of this one. You guys did the coaching course. How do I create energy? What are the 3 things I need for energy? Sorry, Wana and Wana and Alsha, you guys are out of this one. Just because I know you guys know the answer. How do I create energy? There's 3 steps for energy. What are they? It's who's paying attention in class here. Smile, smile, smile. Okay. I thought you were going to put good music, Parry. What happened to the good music and smile? Okay, so smile. It's kind of one here. Be a vibe, inclusion, body language. Okay. So Body language, 1. Engagements, okay. Fake it. Be a fake it. Okay. Alshan and Juana, I think they need some help. Find out energy to start. Have the energy your own. Okay, so breathing part of body language, not part of body language, but in the same category as what Carmen said. Bring in the energy. How do you bring in the energy, Natalie? That's what we're asking. How do we have energy? How do we create energy? We did a whole session on it. How do we create energy? There's 3 things we spoke about.
So can I unmute? It's just easier. Yeah. So you bring the energy with yourself, your posture, your sense of being, like how you are. Even the way you come in the room, have the music set up in the end, and if they see that you come in, like you're a mirror. You're basically, you mirror what you want from your student. So if you come in without that energy, how can you expect them to reflect it?
But how do you create that energy?
The way you walk, the way you stand, your facial expression, body language, the music.
Physiology was 1.
Yeah, the physiology, like your demeanor,
There's
everything.
2 more.
The environmental.
Okay.
With the music.
Not so much environmental helps, right? So physiology, the 1, right? Emma said the other one, our focus. What are we focusing on? We're focusing on positivity, or we're focusing on negativity, right? So positive reinforcement, right? So positive reinforcement, what does that fall under? Self-talk, right? So Divya says, by taking care of yourself, you can bring your energy. You need to rest well, eat well, have a positive outlook, exercise, right? So remember, guys, energy, 3 things. Our physiology, our physical health, taking care of our health, how we hold ourselves, our body, our posture, our breathing. Second one, our focus. Where are you focusing? Are you focusing on what you can control? Are you focusing on what you can't control? You're focusing on gratitude? Are you focusing on your fears? Are you focusing on your faith? Are you focusing on solutions or problems? And the third one, my self-talk. How am I speaking to myself inside my head? What is the language? What are the words that I'm using? Right? So we need these 3 elements in order to create that energy. These 3 things should be in check. Then I use the music, I use the environment, I bring in the other things. Right, but absolutely, that is how we bring the energy. Those 3 things have to be ticked. Okay, so short, medium, long-term goals for your own Pilates practice. Firstly, what exactly do you want to be able to do or feel differently in your body through Pilates? I'm going to read all of these questions, and then we're going to go on a short 15-minute break. You can answer these, have a quick sip of water, run to the loo, and then we'll come back. So what exactly do you want to be able to do or feel through Pilates? How will you know you're making progress? What signs or results will tell you that it's working? What feels realistic for you to commit to right now in terms of your time, your energy, your consistency? How often can you practice? How often can you show up on the mat? Why is this goal important to you personally? How will achieving it impact your daily life or your confidence? And when would you like to notice a real difference? And how can you track your progress along the way? So these are your short, medium, and long-term goals that you're going to be asking yourself. We're going to take a short 15-minute break. So it is almost 5 minutes past 2 now, 12. Let's meet back at 20 minutes past 12. So we'll take 15 minutes, 16, 17 minutes. I want you to answer these questions, have a sip of water, go to the loo, and then we'll meet back at 20 past 12. The last little bit, how do we complete the training? We're going to just end off with that. Any questions, please do put them up on the chat. No worries, Natalie. Can you write the questions? What are you meaning, Sally? Can I write the question? The questions are written. What do you mean, Sally? Can you write the questions? Where's Sally? Okay, but anyway, the questions are here. I'm going to leave these questions here. I'm not going to turn them off. These are the questions right here in front of you, right? So you're going to go through them. What exactly do you want to be able to do, feel, or hear? How will you know when you're making progress? What signs will tell you? What feels realistic for you to commit to in terms of your practice, your time, your energy? How many times a week can you practice? Why is this goal important to you? How will achieving it impact your daily life, your confidence, your health, your energy, your relationships, your career? When would you like to notice a real difference, and how can you track your progress along the way? Okay, so team, we will see you back. Let's have a look at our final checklist. The final checklist. What do you need to do in order to finish the entire training? So make sure that you have attended or watched the recordings of all the theory and practical sessions. So for any of you that have missed any of these online theory sessions, please make sure that you watch the recorded version of it. For anyone that's missed the practical sessions, please make sure you watch the recorded version of it. Make sure that you complete your A&P exam on the online learning platform. There may still be an A&P exam coming from the awarding body. We have requested more information about it, but they did say that there may still be an exam from their side. We are just waiting to hear. So once you've completed everything from our side, you may still have one more A&P just so that they can still test your knowledge from their perspective. But make sure that your A&P exam on the online learning platform is completed. Make sure that you have completed your own personal practice. You've spent at least 20 hours of self-study practice on the mat or the reformer, either open studio or at home if available. For those of you that want to be registered on the online training app, I did start setting it up. It is just taking some time. I have the first week ready though, which is just the classical movements. I'll probably get you signed up by the end of this week. And if anyone else wants to be signed up to the online platform, the app with all the Pilates movements, they will have the video, the instructions there. Please do send me a message and let me know so that I can sign you up. Amy, yes, please. Is that for the app? Let me know what was the yes, please for. Okay. So besides from that, okay. So Amy and Perry, if I can ask you, just send me a WhatsApp because I'll probably forget by the end of this. Just send me a WhatsApp message so I got it. So besides from this, right? So make sure you finish your A&P. Then you're going to finish and submit your learner assessment record. You must complete everything. Like I said, next week, Monday, I will do a learner assessment record walkthrough online. Same time, we'll do it 11 a.m. on a Monday. For those of you that want to join, you're welcome to. Anyone that doesn't want to join, that's fine. I will record the session. You can just watch the video or you can just do it. You can go through it yourself. You can submit it to me. I will tell you if there's any changes that need to be made. So make sure that you finish completely and submit your learner assessment record. You will upload it to the Google Drive. So the same place that you've uploaded your videos, your feedback, all the rest of it, you will upload it to the Google Drive. If you're struggling to upload it to the Google Drive, just message myself or Rory privately and we'll help you. You can just send it to us and we'll upload it from our side. And make sure that you have also finished your one-on-one progressive Pilates plan. This is part of the learner assessment record, right? There's 10 sessions from basic to more advanced. Make sure that you finish that as well. So if you have finished everything in the learner assessment record, that already included your personal practice and that included the one-on-one progressive plan, right? So this page is basically just make sure that you finished your A&P and make sure that you finished your LAR. That's it. Next, we want to make sure that you've submitted a postural analysis picture with the plumb line. So there has to be a line. It has to be a real person. You can't submit a picture of someone that you found on the internet. It has to be a real person, right? There has to be written observations written in your LAR, page 120. So make sure that you've got your picture, you attach your picture with the LAR, with your video of the one-on-one Pilates session. You can do it on yourself, yes. So you can do it on yourself or you can do it on someone else. Okay, so you've got your picture, you've got your LAR, you've got your A&P exam. If you were present for the group Pilates class, and I have not given you any feedback that you have to reassess, well done, you have passed that one. If you were not present for the group Pilates class, please submit a video with a minimum of 8 movements. It can be 45 sessions minimum with at least 4 participants. This should reflect a real life training session. Again, if you've already completed, if you were there for the 2 days, you don't need to do this. If you were there for only 1 day and I have not given you any feedback to resubmit, it's fine. You've been passed. Okay. Very. Okay, so make sure that you have planned and delivered your group Pilates class. If you were not there for the practical in person, you have to do this via video. You can just do one video. You don't have to do 2 separate videos. You can just do one video with 8 movements. That's fine. Or you can do 2 separate videos with 4 movements, 4 movements. If you've submitted a video, that's fine. Perfect. I haven't looked at the videos yet. I've been just trying to catch up with everything from this week. There's a lot of you guys. So it's like trying to get through the assessments little bit by little bit. But by the end of next week, everyone will have feedback because next week is off of work from all the training. So I'll be able to give more dedicated time to all of your feedback. Within the next week, you'll have feedback, not the end of this week, end of next week, you'll have feedback on everything. Okay, so, up till then, everything should be quite clear. For your final assessment, this is for everyone, every single person, you will plan and deliver a 50 to 60 minute one-to-one Pilates session. There should be a minimum of 10 classical movements. You should have this written in your portfolio, the LAR. It should be there with the what, the why, the how, the imagery. You should be doing your own self-evaluation. The session has to be recorded and uploaded to the Google Drive according to the awarding body standards. So you can see page 181 in your LAR. And the self-evaluation of the personal practice is also attached in your LAR. So make sure you're planning and delivering 50 to 60 minute video, 10 movements, can be a one-on-one or a two-on-one, whatever you prefer. It can be a group if you prefer, but one-on-one is fine. And then you have to just do your own evaluation after. So how do you feel that you did? Look at the portfolio. What do you need to fill in as your own self-evaluation? Fill that in the entire portfolio. The entire learner assessment record needs to be filled in. So basically what we will be sending to the awarding body is your one-to-one Pilates session, the video, the postural analysis picture, and your LAR. That's it. So those 3 things. Right, all the rest of this is just things within those 3 things. Right, the group Pilates I've assessed in person, but if you were not there in person or if you were doing it online, obviously I couldn't do it in person, then you will do it in a video. Any questions on that before I move on? Is it all clear? Yes, the online anatomy can be repeated. You have 3 chances. Same with your final assessment. So this video that you submit, you've got 3 submissions. There will be a small fee for another submission if you do not pass it within the 3 submissions. For the online one, there won't be a fee, right? But for the video, there will be a small fee if you do not pass it by your third submission. So if you get 3 referrals, there's no real such thing as a failure, right? You get a referral, which means you just have to try again. If after the 3rd referral, you still don't get it, I would suggest then you redo the full training and then try again. Okay. But again, there won't be a fee for the full training, rejoining. It would just be the fee for resubmitting after the 3rd submission. So Emma's asking, what is the specific criteria that we need to ensure to have? So read through the LAR, it's going to give you everything there. But most important, there should be at least 10 classical movements. There should be the what, the why, the how, the imagery, and the breathing cues for all of those. And then your own self-evaluation. The class should be at least 45 to 60 minutes with your own self-evaluation. But all the information is there, what's to be expected in the LAR. So make sure that you read through what is to be expected. We will do a run through that next week as well. So 10 classical movements, 45 to 60 minutes. One-on-one, there should be correcting, there should be aligning, there should be observing, right? So you should be doing the what, the why, the how, imagery, breathing. You should have clear instructions for every single movement. You should be seen demonstrating movements with proper form, walking around, observing and correcting clients. And the session or the class should reflect a real life training session. There is not allowed to be any edits in the video. You cannot edit the video at all. Make sure your music is not too loud that you cannot hear yourself. It is actually supposed to be that there's no music, but even when I did my submission, I put music because I can't do a class without music. I just put the music very soft. So make sure that you can still clearly hear the speaking. If I cannot hear your instructions, it has to be a refer. If you're not getting up and walking around and observing your client, it has to be a refer. If of multiple ones, you're not giving the what, the why, the how, the imagery, and the breathing, it will be a refer. So make sure that this session is reflecting a real life session. You cannot be communicating with the cameraman. You can look at your notes, but don't make it obvious. So it has to be reflecting a real life session. Okay. Any other questions on the MAT certification? So this is all for MATs. Yes, Swana.
In LAR, for the personal practice, the 20 hours, I have written also the reformer classes. Is it okay, or I should remove them?
Because you are doing MAT and reformer, that's perfect. Yeah. Perfect. For those of you that are doing MAT plus reformer, you can add the reformer sessions. There should be, so for the reformer, for your reformer certification, those of you doing reformer, you have to fully complete the MAT Pilates level 3 diploma before you can even kind of start your reformer certification. So fully complete the MAT level 3 diploma. Make sure you finish your LAR, your video, everything else for the MAT. For those of you that are brave enough to do your reformer this week, that's okay. But we just won't submit anything until we've submitted everything for the MAT. You need to attend and submit your personal feedback experience of at least 4 group classes for reformer. You need to plan and deliver a full 60-minute Pilates session on the reformer, minimum of 10 movements with your own self-evaluation. The session should either be assessed in person or recorded and uploaded to Google Drive. If you are wanting to do your reformer session, please do in person. Please do message me to book your time. Unfortunately, for now, this Friday is the only time. 11 a.m. till 2 p.m. is the only time you have available until January. From January the 1st, you can do it any Friday. You can do it. We'll just chat about the timings. I'll give you other slots as well available for the week. So in Jan, when we're back, you guys can do it whenever, but just message me in advance so that we can book it. or you can do it virtually if you've got access to a facility to use and just record it. I am also going to ask everyone on the Reformer training to rejoin a minimum of 2 of the Reformer group training sessions in Jan, just to get the full experience of that group trainer session, because we'll be using CASA. So we've got many Reformers available. So make sure that you rejoin a minimum of 2 just for your own benefits, to understand how to control a class dynamic as well. Sally says, for us, we need to attend more mat Pilates classes to fill this 20 hours. Yes. So, but bearing in mind, if you've been doing your own practice, which you should have been doing 1 to 2 hours per week, you've been doing 2 to 3 hours, right? You did your submission. So it should be, at least you should be on around 16 or 17 hours just from the training, right? Because you're getting 2 to 3 hours on the mat every single week for 6 weeks. And then you've got, you should be getting at least 2 hours of self-study in between. So that should put you at least on around 16, 17 hours. If you haven't gotten those and you haven't been filling them, you need to either attend more mat Pilates classes or do your own practice at home on the mat. Again, no one's assessing this. No one is going to see, did you do the session or not? But again, it's for your own confidence. It's for your own learning, right? This is to ensure that you feel confident when you're training a class, that you know what to say, when to say it, how to say it, because you've practiced it so many times that it's more natural, it's more comfortable. Okay, so for Reformer, right, you need to fully complete your mat Pilates diploma. You need to attend and submit your personal feedback experience of your 4 group classes, and you need to plan and deliver either in person or recorded 60-minute Pilates Reformer session, and you'll rejoin a minimum of the 2 Reformer group training sessions in Jan. And that is it for the training. Right, like I said, next week, Monday, we'll do a walk through the LAR just to make sure that you guys are confident, make sure that you've got everything you need for that. Aside from that, ladies, let us know, how are you feeling? What was your biggest win? Any questions? I'm going to give you each a chance to unmute yourself. If you are rushing, you can just type it out in the chat box. Let us know. Otherwise, I'm going to get you one by one. Garcia, I'm going to start with you because you are the first one on my screen. Aisha's asking 60-minute, not 45-minute for the Friday assessment. The Friday assessment would be replicate for Reformer only, would be replicating a real life session. So it should be anywhere between 45 to 60 minutes, right? Ideally, it should be towards 50 minutes, because you wouldn't really use 60 whole minutes in a class anyway, because usually there's classes one after the other. It would be around 50 minutes for the assessment. That's fine. 45 minutes is still okay, but I want to see full warm-up, full ABCs. I want to see full from the beginning till the end. How are you going to transition it? Some stretching at the end, a little bit of breathing in the beginning, breathing at the end. So exactly like a real class. Okay. Garcia, let us know, what was your biggest win and any final questions?
Oh, hi. Hello. Sorry, could you please repeat the question? I might not be fully focused today.
No worries. The question is just, what was your biggest win of today, of the whole training, and any questions that you have?
Well, my biggest win will be actually to know classical Pilates now. I'm still very impressed with the classical Pilates and the whole 34 moves, even though I know the Reformer is a big hit right now. But I really like the fundamentals of Pilates, you know, to learning about the breath and the body connection. So that's the biggest win for me. And I hope I will be able to finish this course and spread the knowledge and use this in with my clients. So yes, I don't know if I can say anything about the winning today, because I'm still a bit confused with LAR. So I will need a bit more time for that. But I
Okay.
know I really enjoyed the course, and I will miss the Fridays. I will miss the Fridays sessions. So yeah.
Not the Monday ones, only the practical, not the theory so much.
So no, the
I get
Mondays too, of course.
Lovely.
Yes, so
Guys.
yes, and I really enjoyed the anatomy as well. That was a Monday session, and I really enjoyed that because I think you explained this really clearly and like was really easy to understand. Like very approachable. Yes. So that's me.
Lovely.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Ausha, you're up next.
Hi guys. Happy last Monday. For me, because I have done some training stuff before, I think it's finally kind of clicked into place, kind of exactly how the breath and the movements and everything work. Because before I kind of had this mental block about how to teach Pilates. I don't know why. Like I was just like, people had been asking me for ages, come on, teach it, teach it, teach it. I was like, no, I don't know how to teach it. I don't know how to put it together. Like my brain just had this block. And I finally have that removed. So it's quite good. Because I know I can do it. I just couldn't, I don't know. I just couldn't put it in a picture for myself, like in a sequence so I feel like now I feel more relaxed about it and I can go and teach people without stressing about it. So yes.
Nice. Beautiful. Thank you, Ausha. Any final questions?
I have to think about it.
Perfect. Juana, our favorite speaker.
My insight for today is definitely the SMART goals, how to set SMART goals. And of course, what I need to do for the certification. And for overall course, I've learned a lot, seeing like the specific movements, the why, the what, the alignment, until like teaching. And I do feel like I can see my progress, and I'm very proud and happy for it. And I thank you all for your support, because without you, I couldn't make it. So thank you so much.
Huge. Thank you, Anna. I know the session on Friday will not be recorded. It will just be me assessing it. Okay. Harry, let us know.
From good morning to good afternoon to everybody. Cherise, you will not believe I have never attended a single Pilates class. But I'm so happy and proud. I somewhere felt within me that this is my calling. I can align this in yoga. And I will end up getting, hopefully, all of us will end up getting a diploma, not even a certificate in it. And hopefully, I will go and attend somebody else's Pilates class. It is overwhelming, the kind of information that we have to submit from our side, but I think it is not impossible. It is just a matter of sitting down with it. That is what is the challenge here. And the best part about your training is the what, why, and how, the regression and the progression. I think that clears not only Pilates, every movement, whether it is strength training, whether it is yoga, or whether it is swimming, or whether it is badminton. These are the basic foundations that I understood to keep in mind now to teach anything. So I'm very grateful that somehow I ended up here. I met you all. I made friends here, and I drove all the way to Lucerne. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Beautiful, Perry. Thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure having you. Carmen.
Hello. I'm feeling really excited and equipped. I'm excited to get started. I'm not looking forward to making those videos, but but I'm excited to get started, and I feel very stretched in many ways. But yeah, it was lovely. Thank you so much.
Pleasure. And I will be in South Africa. So if we want to do the group one in person rather than video, we can.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Sally says I have to leave, but I'm happy to teach and transform. Others, glad to meet you all, and I'll miss the Fridays. Just a bit stressed about the rest to be finalized and get certified. Don't worry, Sally. We're going to make sure that we go through everything. You guys are going to be fine. I promise you, just put your heads down. Most of the portfolios already should be ideally, hopefully done. So yeah, have a lovely day. Bye-bye, Sally. Thank you. Who do we have next? Divya.
Hello, everybody. I feel my biggest win would be diving deep into the world of Pilates. I already got a crash course with you during the Qatar Airways training. However, this was completely different. It was deep into the foundation of Pilates. So it was really good. And as you know, Cherise, I am planning to resign, and soon I would like to have my own business. So I would love to be a part of the business workshop that you're going to conduct. And honestly, I feel very well equipped. I feel very confident to deliver classes, to go out there and teach people. So I'm excited. Thank you so much for everything.
Pleasure, Divya.
Thank you.
Emma. And let's just give Emma a round of applause because she's been joining us at like 8, 9, 10, 12, all sorts of like times of the day. Well done, Emma.
Thank you. Yeah, I think my biggest win is doing this has given me something to do for myself. I think the last 3 years of my life has just been babies and motherhood and all sorts. So it's just been incredible to do something for me, and it's just given me this new confidence. It's reignited my passion for fitness. And I think the one thing that really stuck with me was something that Rory said, that you feel the fear, but you push through it anyway. So that's what I'm going to hold to, because I am a little bit nervous, like for the LAR, and I'm a bit nervous to, I don't know, like you get scared, you're kicking off a business. Is it going to work? Is it not? But you're just going to do it anyway. So I took the leap. I bought a bunch of flooring for my garage, and AJ and I are turning my garage into a studio. So yeah, we're getting there. So thank you so much, Cherise. It's really just been so incredible. I've loved every second of it.
I'm so happy. Thanks for joining. And good luck. I think it's going to be a massive hit there. Emma's in Australia, so she's raising the standards of Pilates in Australia. Good job. Amy. People are jumping around here.
Hi. Well, firstly, I want to say thank you. Like, I've really enjoyed it. It's been amazing, really insightful. But I would say my biggest win, well, there's a couple, but is how much my personal practice has now improved. Like, I've actually had at the studio, I've had two separate people on two separate occasions just, come up to me and say, your form's really good and you're really strong and you're really inspirational. And I just thought, well, that's only since I've been doing this, this course with you. And I just think, well, actually, maybe I have found something that I'm good at, and actually, yes, I think maybe I will be able to be successful at teaching this, to people. So yeah, but it's also just been really nice to have something to, like what Emma said, to focus on for myself. Like, my kids now are a lot older, but, my life really has been bringing them up. I gave up my career, to be with the children. And it's kind of like, I wanted something else to do like now, and I've found something, and I'm just really excited about kind of what the future holds really and how far I can take it. So yeah, so thank you.
Beautiful, Amy. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, ladies. I think that is everyone, right? Yeah, we've heard from everyone. So yeah, thank you, ladies, so much. It has been an absolute pleasure, obviously, being with you guys on this journey. I'm definitely gonna miss our Fridays together and even our Mondays. But this is not the end. This is only the beginning. This is the beginning of your journey. Exactly like Emma said, feel the fear and do it anyway. Right? You will never, ever, ever feel prepared. You will go through 6-month training, a 1-year training, a 2-year training, 5-day. You will never feel prepared. So the way that you will feel prepared is when you start doing it. You make the mistakes and then you learn from those mistakes. So go out there and just do it. Remember to focus on the change that you're wanting to make, the experiencing that you're wanting to give, rather than how you're going to look doing it. Right? And if you shift your focus to the experience you're trying to give rather than your perception of how you think people are going to perceive you, it shifts how you're going to be feeling, right? But I know you all are going to be amazing. I'm excited to see your transformation. I'm excited to see your journeys. And we're here for you every step of the way. Like we said, next week, Monday, there's going to be the LAR walkthrough. Anything else, please do shout out with any questions. Hopefully, we'll see some of you on Friday for the video testimonials. If any of you guys can make it for Friday, I might see some of you guys on Friday for your assessments, your reformer assessments. Friends, have a lovely, lovely, lovely day. All the best, and we will chat soon. Bye bye.